Stick around until the end of the video to see my opinion a week after the initial review was made. Thanks, and enjoy. We're going to be doing our unboxing. This is my new mouse. This mouse is a technically less expensive mouse than the one I'm currently using, but it's got everything that I need, and it doesn't quadruple click every time I click the left button, or so I think. It could theoretically be a broken, it could technically be broken. So I'm literally going to do an unboxing. We're going to take a look at this guy. And we're gonna see how it do. First of all, this is the packaging here. It's got the mouse all nice, and it's all right. It's an all right package. Actually, it came a little bit like dinked on the side, but that's just, you know, that's shipping. On the back, on the fly DPI adjustment, RGB backlight, 3 ergonomic thumb buttons. For comparison, I'm going to be comparing to the original mouse that I had, which this is the RedDragon. This is the RedDragon Mammoth, and this was apparently a very spendy mouse. I got this as a present. I ended up looking it up later, and it was like $80. Like, this was an $80 mouse. So we're going to be comparing the $80 Mammoth, at least when I first got this mouse, the $80 Mammoth to the Viper. There could be like an actual, did I call this a Viper? I called this a Viper before. Let me, hold up. This is the Vampire. This is not the Viper. This is the Vampire. This is the RedDragon Vampire. I'm an idiot. I also knew what I was getting, though, right? I knew what I was getting because I've had this mouse, and this one supposedly should be better. I knew the issues that I had with this mouse and what I wanted fixed, and this one supposedly has all the answers. So theoretically speaking, I should know what I'm getting with this guy. Usually, like in some unboxings, they're all like, "Oh my god, we're gonna show you all the nitty gritties inside." This is very, I have a feeling, going to be just a very basic. Let's pop this open. Oh, hey! Out of the package, we have a RedDragon sticker. Dope. Pamphlet that goes over the details of the buttons and all that jazz. And then we have the mouse. And this mouse is a lot darker, you can see. Yeah, so first of all, looking at this, it looks pretty similar at first. A couple things that are of note. These buttons up here, the middle buttons are not bump ups. The ones on this one basically don't exist. They're supposed to be flush with the mouse. And in this one, they bump up in the middle here, right? You can feel them. They have some sort of tactileness. The mouse wheel looks the exact same. This one's just white. It's kind of probably hard to tell from the camera because it's lit up right now. But it's got the exact same arrow texture as this one up here, and it feels the same. We'll test it out in a minute too. The front does not have some of the lights in the front. There's no lights on the sides, right? On each side. However, one thing you'll actually notice, what we're looking at right now, is on the sides, there is, on this guy, some texture here. And this is something that, for me, is really important, because on this mouse over here, when I'm using this guy, and actually, when I'm using this guy here, my hands, I am a death gripper. That's how I hold my mouse, is I'm trying to break it at all times. And so while I'm moving this around, I have to have grip on here, and this is all smooth. You can see all that shine, and that's because there's absolutely no traction on this mouse at all, right? There's no traction. This is all shiny, and it looks, honestly, you're probably looking at this and you're thinking it looks probably grimy from what you can see. Some of it is grime. Some of it is grime, because I do need to clean out the mouse. A lot of it actually is the paint coming off. The plastic that this is made out of, there's like a top coat of like the white, and then underneath there's actually like a different darker color. And so when you ding it at all, you can actually see it really easily because, right, this is a dink here. You can see it because it's a different color underneath, and also because it's just white and a divot will create shadow. But another thing too is that this is a white mouse, and so any grime that I have on here is going to make me look like I am just an absolute sludge ball of a person of use. Not that I'm not, but like mixed with the fact that the paint is all chipping up on here and a little bit of the grime here and there makes the mouse always look dirty. That glue over there is just glue. It looks like it's got like a bunch of nasty stuff in it, but it's actually what the rest of the glue under here looks like too. I've kind of peeled it up and looked. This is just what the glue looks like. So it looks kind of nasty underneath when it comes to this paper stuff here, but it's just kind of how it is. And then if you ever need to do any sort of maintenance on this, there's not a whole lot you can do on the inside of this thing, but if you peel up the slide pads under here, you have the screws to take this apart. Looking at this other mouse over here, we have a very similar setup, right? You have the switch. There we go. You have the switch that was on the other one. Obviously, the sensor here. This one has 4 different pads in 4 different spots. I'm guessing there's probably a screw per spot here, right? To be able to take it apart. And on both of these, I never actually showed this on the other one. I'll actually open it up here. If you twist this and open this up, you have weights. So I can technically take out any of these weights, and that will allow me to change the weight of the mouse. The more of these you take out, the cheaper the product feels. I can just tell you that right out. However, without this in, I can tell you right now that the construction of this feels a little bit more durable. If I'm holding this mouse here and I squeeze it all, turn that back. There we go. It's not a whole lot of sound. But when I squeeze this one, there's like almost virtually no sound coming from the mouse. And that can change with use, I know for a fact. But this one has had always the squeak on it since day one, whereas this one doesn't. And that feels very good. This is a button. So there's these 2 buttons. So there's this one up here. There's this one here. This clicks in. I don't know if this is supposed to be a button, though. I don't know if this is supposed to be a button in this middle spot. So that's actually a really good thing to note, construction quality-wise, is whether or not this is supposed to click in or not. Now, that's not going to matter too much, I don't think. I don't think I'm ever going to have an issue hitting that at all, but it's really good to note because I am going to be using my middle finger or this one to like look for the buttons. And if I'm clicking this, thinking I'm clicking this, that would actually be really funny. You've got the 3 buttons here. You've got these 2 buttons here. You've got these 2 buttons here, obviously, and you've got the middle wheel. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 buttons. This mouse here, it has this extra button. So like all the buttons are basically the same, right? So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you have this power button over here. This button's dumb. I never use this button. I only accidentally hit it. This one usually, because I have this on the sound setting for this mouse, will just mute my sound. I will stop hearing the sound from the system. I'll stop hearing game sound, chat sound, all that jazz with this mouse. And so I'm very glad that this one doesn't have that. Not that that can't be useful, and I'm sure if you want to, like, if you would put this to, like, a grenade button or something like that, I'm sure it would be helpful in some instances. But for me, I don't need that, right? Personally speaking, I really don't need that. For the sake of showing it, here is there's the weights. I always had 3 in. I think I'm going to actually include a couple more. And the funny thing is that I believe these are the exact same kind of weights. And I lost whatever my weight holder for this one was. So I'm probably just going to use this as a weight holder off to the side so I can like take some of these magnets out and put them in this one. It's dumb, but it'll technically work. So let's plug this in. Oh, actually, wait. I totally forgot. There's something else in here. There's something else in here. I don't know what this is. I haven't looked at this yet. I'm very excited. I totally forgot about this. It looks like an eraser. What are you? Yeah, there we go. You can see my nasty-ass fingers. Look how tiny this thing is. It's the size of my thumb. What is in here, I wonder? This I must know. And what's in here is... Come on, open. Ugh. What? Oh, it's the weight holder. They give you a little suitcase for the weights. They give you a little suitcase for the weights. Look at that. Oh, my God. Yay. Look at that. There we go. So you can take any of your magnets out. and throw them in this thing, and then you have this little briefcase. So this is really pretty. This is with the matte finish, right? So this guy up here, I keep feeling like I can click this one and can't click this one. Now I can do whatever with this because it's whatever. This one, the RBG looks kind of gaudy, and I think the reason is everything's shiny, therefore everything's bright, plus the white on top of it. It just makes it look like a 2006 level piece of hardware. But with the matte finish on this guy, and because it's new, but also the matte finish, the RGB is done a little bit better on here. It's a little bit more uplayed than, say, this one where, like, everything's, like, very indented. Like, the lights and stuff has, like, a quarter centimeter, like, 10 millimeter thickness in between when it actually starts. This is, like, right up at the surface, and it looks very nice. The cordage is almost the exact same in terms of they're both netted. They're both weaved cords. This one's just pure black over here, but this one is a black and red, which I did like that texture, actually, which was kind of nice, but that's okay. And we're gonna give it a go. Hey! Whoa! First of all, this is like 1-to-1, so it feels very good. I'm like, where I'm putting this mouse on my mouse pad is like the exact same distance on here. So this is like 1-to-1 so far, which is kind of cool. The one thing that is very different from this guy, and this is going to affect my gameplay, not negatively. This is just going to affect it, right? This is not, once again, this is not a bad thing. This is just a thing to note. Is with this mouse, right? Ignore the missing. With this mouse, you could have it, right? So let's say that my hand is at the table here, right? And if I place this here, like this, right? And I start moving it around. I'm doing one of these things, right? And I go to lift like this. Up to about here on that lift, so about maybe like a 10 degree, somewhere in there, it would still be recording my movement. So I could theoretically hold, I'm gonna dramatize this a lot. I could theoretically hold it like this and move it around the tabletop and it would still record, right? Because the laser was picking up the table further away. With this mouse right here, this mouse does not work if I pick it up even slightly. And like if I barely scooch it off the surface, it barely kind of picks up, but otherwise it's only if it's on. I will even bring this down. If I so much as pick this up by about that much and move, it's not doing anything. If I put it to about here, not even. If I go right here and then I just barely, I know my camera's having issues. If I just barely go like this, right, you can see that little difference, then it does it, but that's still almost full contact on the table. If it's down fully, it's fine. Barely, yes. Any more than that, it won't. That little, like, leverage up as a way to kind of, like, scooch my mouse in different ways, I'm not going to be able to do that anymore. I'm going to have to just play it with my mouse flat on the table, and if I pick it up, I'm picking it up to move. If I'm setting it down, I'm setting it down to move. One thing that you might notice differently, I'm going to swap hands there, is they're a slightly different shape from each other, right? Ugh. So if you look at this guy over here, right? There we go. You can see 2 bumps on its right side and then 1 bump on its left side with some grips on the side. On this one, there's only 1 bump on the right side, and then on the left side, there's a slightly, I think, smaller, there's a smaller plateau for your thumb to rest on. That's not nearly as flat. It's, like, very rounded, and there's no grip thing on here at all. The thing about this one is that this is, I think, modeled off, basically, their MMO mouse, the one with all the buttons on the side. And I'll put a picture of it right there. It's right there. I'm pretty sure it's right there. If it's not there, I failed at editing. I have failed you as an editor. So, this one I think is modeled off that, or at least is very close. So it's got the double bumps on the right side for comfort. It's got the left side, but it doesn't have all the buttons. And that's what I wanted. That's what I was looking for the longest time. And they have it, just not in their main Amazon catalog at the moment. But I like this. I like the feel for the 2 seconds I've held it for right now. So let's go play a game. We're gonna play some CS:GO. For anybody who doesn't like CS:GO or is tired of Valorant, I'm so sorry. I'm trying out a new mouse and I need to try something that's a shooter. So we're gonna play some CS:GO. The following game was a low-kill, low-death win that showed me two things. The Vampire does handle differently compared to the Mammoth, and while it will take a long time to get used to, the mouse functioned well. Okay, cool. So that was my first game of CSGO. It was a little bit weird. The mouse is definitely different of a feel than what I'm used to. It has a lot more friction. I think I'm going to use this mouse with not that many weights in it. Overall, my thoughts so far off one CSGO game and not actually trying out the modes yet is that it is a solid mouse and it feels good to use. It also feels different to use. I need to get used to this, and that's going to require more games. That's going to require playing around with some of the settings and things like that. For reference, the presets is Alt for the front button. I think it's Shift Control or Control Shift. Alt is the furthest one forward, and that one I'm going to be using to like point out enemies and stuff in Modern Warfare and all that jazz. So yeah, I think that concludes it. I am happy with the purchase. I'm glad I got it, especially since my Mammoth is currently dying out. It's doing the weird double click thing. All the clicks feel pretty on point. Like it feels like a good mouse. And I am happy with the purchase. That's my review. Thank you so much for joining me today. As always, you can catch me on any of my social things down below, or check me out on Patreon if you want to support me. Thanks. Have a good one. Don't leave. Anybody who just saw that, don't leave. Don't leave. And the reason you shouldn't leave is because I'm back a week later to tell you what I think about this mouse I've been using for a week. I've been doing video editing. I've been streaming and gaming. I've been browsing Reddit. I've been doing a whole lot of stuff with this mouse. And I like it. The friction that I mentioned before is definitely prevalent. It definitely has changed a little bit how I kind of move the mouse around a little bit, but I think it's for the better. Guys, I messed up. So a month ago was the first time on stream when I recorded this review. The one you're watching, by the way. This is a re-upload. I'm the king of re-uploads. And then, you know, I edited it down, and then a couple weeks later, I did the re-recording of the segment that you were just watching before I interrupted again. And, you know, I figured that would be the last time that I was going to record, and then I happened to look. I had just posted the video, like, literally an hour before. I had just tweeted a friend a couple minutes before I flipped over my mouse. And on the bottom was the bottom I was used to looking at. Seemed fine, except there was what looked like a little deterioration, like right around here. And I was like, oh no, is the mouse pads, like, are they deteriorating? That would suck that I just did this review and the mouse is falling apart. That would really suck. It'd be a good thing to check out. And I took my finger, and mind you, I had checked these two before. I had checked under here for the screws, right? Hadn't checked the top and bottom before. And I just did a little, and that, and there was a film. And for the entire month, and for the entire review period in which I was making the video and testing out the mouse, right up until I uploaded, this has had a film on the top and bottom, not the left and right, but the top and bottom slidey doos, the slippy, the don'ts, the not slippies, the do not slips, because they didn't do the slip because there was a filter over the, and so this slides fine. This is a great, it's magical. Like, check this out. Like, I'm not going to do a bunch of, but if you just, like, boop, look at that. Slides right over right before if you, like, flicked it like that, it'd break your finger. So the mouse works great. The friction you're hearing about in the review currently does not apply. And, yeah, enjoy the review. Take into account there's no friction from the mouse. It works great. Flies wonderfully. It's a nice mouse. Still works great. Everything else is on point. Okay, bye. I have absolutely no weights currently in this bottom part. It is completely empty inside the little weight chassis thing here. And the reason for that is because the friction sort of compensates for the lack of weight that I have in here. And I've been doing really well, I think. It's been going pretty good. I've played a few games afterwards, and it went well. I was able to get my shots off pretty well. In fact, I would almost say I've been doing even better recently, given the new mouse. And so I'm very much happy with it. And I have my software that I currently set up as well, which allows me to switch out the DPI, allows me to switch out the functions, all that jazz. And that's been working really well as well. I am sure for some people, if you're one of those people who needs like an MMO mouse, or you want a mouse that will allow you to basically record 20 different functions and you never have to actually touch your keyboard again in order to browse, play games, or anything else, then yes, this might not be the mouse necessarily for you. However, for myself, I just want a mouse with a couple extra buttons, right? Not like some Logitech office mouse you find, at work. It's a little bit more than that, but otherwise not by much. It's just got some basic features on it, and it works great for what it is. For a gaming mouse, it goes up to the higher DPI is fine. The 1000 hertz polling for the mouse works great too. Everything seems to be functioning properly, and it is withstood construction-wise for the week that I've had it. Yes, that's not necessarily, a year of testing, and the last one went out earlier than a year. So potentially this mouse could break down in a couple months. If it does break down in any sort of fashion, I guess within the year, I will post down below in the description section with some asterisks right at the top if it's gone out, when it's gone out, maybe why it's gone out, if it's the clicker or if it's not using the laser properly or anything. So for people watching in the future, you have something to look down in the description for. Has it died yet? If it's past a year, I might update. If it's more than 2 years, if it's more, especially more than 3 years, I'm not probably going to update the description. I will probably forget about this video by then. And even if I don't, I think at that point, I have at least gotten some sort of use out of it. I think the only time I would do an update in the description would be if it, I don't know, explodes. So this concludes my review of the mouse. I would recommend it if you're looking for a cheap mouse to purchase. If you're especially trying to replace something, maybe you're one of those people who wants like $100 mouse, but you need something in the meantime while you're saving up funds for a good one. This is not a bad gamer mouse to grab. Yes, it's going to be on the cheaper side. However, this one's constructed better. It feels great. I enjoy it, and I will use it for a while to come. So thank you so much for watching, guys. If you want to check out my Twitch, my social media, anything else, feel free to check down in the description below. If you'd like to support me on Patreon like these two knuckleheads right here, please feel free as well. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for sitting through. Thanks for watching my review. I'm Wrath of the Hydra. This has been a review for the Mammoth versus the Vampire, and you guys are absolutely fantastic. Have a good one. Thanks. I could Tokyo drift with it and just be like, deja vu, da 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 da.